watch some Brig from, again, in my opinion, probably one of the better Brigs in the meta. Cut. So to me, a lot of Brig is how can you live while doing work, right? How can you live while doing work while also being aware of everything that's going on, right? So let's watch Landon play. So they look to go really aggro. They're gonna playing Echo here. They're looking to like just sort of go first. You can immediately know that there's a ball behind. You actually look at this too, by the way. He's really smart about this. He lets Zen go in first, okay? Let Zen go in first. Then he comes behind the Zen so he can bash the Brig, bash the ball, so the ball can't even get to the Zen. And he doesn't even bash it, he flails. He forces it back, and then after that he bashes. Now that ball can't do anything. That buys a lot of time, by the way, for Zen to be able to frag. No, I don't think he really needed to put a pack there. It was a mistake, but whatever. Overpack. And now look, you see his positioning again? Where he is, him and Zen are really far back, where it's really hard for ball to get on, right? He's looking around, he's sort of seeing the balls there. The way to look at pack management for Brig is really straightforward, okay? It's let's see here. Where is okay. Depends obviously what, you know, comp you're running. Once I deal with this wonderful bug. Okay. There we go. Okay. So the way to look at it, it's pretty straightforward. Okay. Is you have 3 packs. You almost always want to be trying to stay between 2 and 3. So what I mean by that is you can use one, right? You can use 1 pack, but then you sort of have still 2, right? And then you get a second one back. So this is for the mid fight. You want to try and always have like juggling between 2 and 3 packs. Okay, you want to be your priority, right? Is always your Zen first because your Zen needs to live. Then after that, right? If you're running like trade, it depends on what, you know, comps you're running. But after that, it goes to your DPS. I'll put it in DPS order, which is Tracer. Okay. Tracer, McCree if you have Cree. Actually be. If you have McCree, it's McCree first. McCree, Tracer, and then Echo. Okay. And then after that, it's Sigma. Then it's Ball. That's the priority. Okay. So that's sort of how you want to look at it. Obviously, again, DPS shifts a little bit based off how your team plays. Some teams, you know, want to give more resources to their Echo, so, you know, give Harmony Orb to Echo, so you're packing Tracer. Some teams want to give more resources to Tracer, so you're packing Echo. Instead, you know, it just depends on, you know, how your team's playstyle is, okay? But in general, always your priority keeping your Zen alive. Your Zen needs to live. After that, right, is DPS because you're playing for your DPS with this comp. Then after that, you know, you need to make sure you're trying to keep your Sigma alive. Your Sigma will take some damage, so it goes Sigma. Then it goes Ball. Now, if you notice the distance he's playing, by the way, it's really far back to the point where it's sort of difficult, right, to proc Inspire. So you sort of have to be, like, really clever and, like, you know, you have to hit these things and you sort of have to wait for them to come in your distance. If you also notice, by the way, he only uses Bash when he really needs to use Bash. Why? You'd rather use Flail and get a kill with Flail and proc Inspire, right? Or like, well, you know, use it, not to proc Inspire, but to save Bash so that he can have Bash to peel if someone else goes on it. Now, one thing I want to talk about here that's really important, right? They killed the Sigma Brig, right? The Tracer's there, and they kill the Tracer. At this point, right, they've killed so many people in the enemy team, right, that the enemy team doesn't have many flankers. So when the enemy team doesn't have many flankers, your Zen isn't in that much of a threat, so you can take space, which is exactly what's happening here. So he's now taking more space because he knows that the enemy team doesn't have a lot of people that can get on his Zen, so he can take space and look to brawl a little bit more, proc Inspire more, get a bit more value. Because what's really important, obviously, for Brig is Inspire uptime. So if you can understand when to go up and like proc Inspire more, that's clearly good. When you have Rally also, when you're playing an aggressive comp like the one they're playing, because their comp plays to go with 3-prong like pincher, like attack and go instantly, right? When you're playing something like this, Rally can be used to hold close and then go really aggressive. So while you saw them playing really passively and playing really far back, that's fine and that's really good, right? Because they want to play to live and sort of like prevent their engage, but they can also play really aggressive and go to like set tempo with Rally. And there, here it is, right? He just goes to aggro with it. Pretty textbook. The biggest thing I'll say, right, and I think what he could have done here, he packs a lot before the rally, and I think that's not necessarily bad. I think he could have had a little bit better pack management, so he uses packs over here, right? Right over here, he shouldn't have packed that ball. It's going into this fight, right? Like again, like pack fine makes sense for the Tracer, but if he didn't use that pack, like he would have probably had 1, he'd probably be going into 2 instead of like 0 to 1 right now. So going into this fight over here, even though yes, he's got Rally, so Rally is great. Rally doesn't do distance stuff, so if you have flanker DPS, you can't pack, can't pack maybe 0 packs. But the other thing is also with Rally, it's really nice to refresh the packs, which again, sort of good for the situation. But what's really nice, and I think is really important when you're playing at a really high level, is sort of pre-packing the people that are scary, so that when you brawl and you go forward and you're looking forward, you don't have to worry about turning around, right? So if you look at the situation here, we'll go back and see how he does this. But when you rally, so he packs Zen here, right? And he goes forward. And this isn't bad. The EMP happens, and that sort of screws him, actually. That's really what it really affects him, actually. But that pre-pack is really, really, really important. Okay, we'll go back here. Same thing now. Nothing different. I would have liked him to try and get the Discord off. Flail. Trance. Again, if you notice, by the way, like he's using like a lot of packs. This is something that I don't particularly like. I think he's overpacking like way too much. Before a fight starts, he's already at 0. I think that's really, really, really bad. Like a lot of these situations, the fight's over. You don't need a pack there. You can just give, they can go for a what do you call it? You can just go for a health pack, or you can get Harmony Orb because there's ends there. And I'm not saying you need a pre-pack all the time. It's like, so don't think that pre-packing is like insanely good, right? It's only when you don't have to worry about healing. If you're rallying, you don't have to worry about healing, right? And if you're worried about your backline dying because the enemy team has like EMP, or like, is going to try and pinch you with 3 flankers, or their ball tracer is going to try and come behind, right? You sort of just want to like just make sure, you're giving extra heal so it's like you're okay. I think he double packed that too, and like that wouldn't have, like, you don't need to do that. You should have just won. Like right over here now, like the Tracer wants pack, like he doesn't really have it for him. If you just fix tackle economy just a little bit, just a tiny bit, right? Like he would have so much more resources in mid fight, and this is, in my opinion, what happens with so many Brigs. Like, and I consider him to be probably one of the best Brigs, in all honesty, in Contenders. And probably, honestly, probably an Owl, to be honest. I think he's an insanely good Brig, right? Like, so the biggest thing I'd say, right, is this mid-fight is when you want to have a lot of value, whether it's you're brawling because you've killed their flankers, or it's that, you want to be able to packs to help you to have your DPS so they can keep going, right? What this comp is a lot about, I mean, theirs is a lot about instant value, go in and kill things, right? But for at least for Tracer, right, as Tracer, you want to stay in the fight and keep going. And if you have packs, right, for your Tracer to keep going, that's really, really, really important. And if, again, you don't have packs, it's a problem. Now, double packing is really only good if you know the person's going in really aggressively, and you're probably going to lose LOS of the site, right? Because double packing gives an extra 2 seconds of heals, right? And if you have LOS of the person anyway, there's no reason to double pack, because it's just going to affect, like, if you do the math, it's just going to affect your CCD usage timing, and it's really bad, right? Because you could double pack, you could chill for like 1.5 seconds and pack again, and then like it's better for your CD, right? If you spam it, the reason why you're probably doing it is because you're going to leave that person's LOS, or they're going to leave your LOS, And yeah, that's like one of the main reasons why you should probably look to double pack. Or you're busy with something else and you can't really focus on them. You gotta make a play here. Okay. Scouting. One thing that's really, really important for Brig uptime and just like constantly doing something, right, is when you're just standing there, instead of just looking straight, look around, right? And so like obviously here you can scout and you can third person, but let's say you're over here and then you're a ball tracer's fighting and there's I don't know, your Sigma shooting things, right? Instead of just like looking at the Sigma shooting your thing, you can like look left, right, you can like sort of look behind a bit, right? You can use third person to like scout, like when you're setting up and whatnot. So sort of look around more, so because you should probably, you're like a sort of like a mercy where you're sort of like not doing much, right? So you can sort of be aware and constantly scout and update information on where the enemy is. Again, like to me that's like a waste of a pack. But I mean you'll probably get it back. That was nice. That was a really nutty flail if you think about it. That was a really good disengage too. Like they know they have EMP, right? So they baited. One way I will look at it is he could have been trying to pack to build a rally, and like that's not bad either. So that when that EMP happens, they're fine. He's got his packs he needs beforehand. Like what I would have liked is again just like pulse bomb, gotta be careful, like behind, watch behind, watch the corners, be a bit more aware. And as Brig, like everyone knows, you're a very, very hard pulse bomb, target. So it's really, really important that you're walking and you're rotating and stuff like that. You're sort of aware where the tracer could possibly come from. Try and maintain as much distance as possible so you don't get pulse bombed. But in the end of the day, it's pretty hard. That's a really nice inspire hit. See that one thing I also want to point out, notice he turns around to actually see where his Zen is, to make sure his Zen's with him, right? Most people, like, you just walk forward and the person's not with you and you sort of just, in trouble. Trance, right? Push forward, try and brawl. Definitely a good move. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about the macro, but like how he approached that was fine. Kelly. This is like the best side because again, you want a position. I'm not going to too much about backline. A position that has really good LOS, right? Really good distance from angles. You can see everything clearly, and then like so, the ball can't really sneak up on you. This is a very good example of that. Ball can't really sneak up on you. See ball left, right? Immediately tries to flail it. He has harmony up. He doesn't take much damage. Gets stunned, right? He packs to Sigma. Fair packs to Echo. Yeah, and I think he used one pack more than he needed to. But to be fair, that the enemy comp is like very aggressive at the start, so it's really important you live at the start. You live at the start, then you're in a really good place. And he's walking forward. Like, I don't know if you're noticing how much value he's actually getting out of his whip, but he's hitting a lot. He's hitting a lot. It's actually insane, right? With his whip. And then other thing I'm pointing out, right, is he immediately knows when to take space. There is no hesitation, right? As soon as he knows that the enemy team's engage is gone, watch. He stunned ball. Ball is now forced out, right? They tried to got ball really, really low HP. Ball can't really engage now for a bit. They're going to push forward and try and take space. It's just a tracer, right? So obviously he's going to try and watch the tracer. But he's got packs for that. Immediately goes back in, right? When ball does come in, he's ready for it. But because their comp is super cycly, right? And there's no Ashe, there's no Kree. I mean, Kree's different, but because there's no Ashe, Ashe you'd play really slow and you sort of just spam and hold the backline. But because their comp is very cycly, where it's like, okay, we go hard, right? Then, at the start, he looked to go hard here. Like, we'll go back here. Echo, you shift, you go hard, you see him push forward, try and take space because they want to push and try and discord. Whole concept of this is you try and slam, Echo tries to sticky, Tracer follows up, try and get a discord on that target and blow that target up instantly, right? So that's the concept. And if that fails, right, then you back up and you try and live, right? Which is what's happening here. They're trying to live. And now after they stabilize, right, they want to try and push back in. Which is what's happening right now. Right? They try and punish over aggression because you've got Briggs and Echo can beam things, right? But then you look to push back in. And because that ball is forced out, he takes space instantly, and they want to look to go in and be aggro again. And he's constantly ready for that ball. A lot of this takes a lot of practice and like awareness. Again, if you notice, he's constantly aware where this ball is. This ball doesn't really get away with much. They're moving from sort of like, you know, a good LOS spot to another really good like LOS corner spot. He forgot to pack the Tracer beforehand. And then, like you can see here, he messed up. And again, like he uses so many packs at the end. He's lucky that he gets everything back perfectly, but I'm sure he's timed it correctly. To me, as soon as that happens, I always say when that happens, always against a really good ball Tracer team, you should always pack your Zen first, then try and stun if possible. Sometimes it's really hard to do, but I also think his positioning is really bad. I'm not sure why they're here. I think this is a really weird place to play. I think you should be playing over here. And then you can rotate your backline a little bit closer if needed, but you start here so you can deal with ball Tracer very well. Because I understand that you probably want to hit their engage really well here, and you want your Sigma Zen really close. But you want your backline to just sort of live, because if your backline gets pressured before you hit, then it's really hard for you to hit. So backline should be in a position where they can see things better. I still win though. A very good understanding of sort of, you know, again, when to go back in. Fight's not over. We have ults. We can ebb and flow. We can push back. We can push back in. It's interesting. He's really split from Zen here, but I think they're baiting Zen because of Harmony Trance. Yep. I don't like that though. I think that's a mistake. I think you should still keep stuff together. Try not to bait Trance. You still go like, because like you don't want to just bait Trance for baiting Trance for no reason. Like I still want to hit hard. I also don't like how he double packs that much because you're probably giving Harmony Orb to your Echo, right? I think you should only be using one pack. But again, to me, what's really good about this is sort of understanding again where the ball is constantly, when to take space, when not to take space. But because I will say, because he packs so much like this at the end of fights, he builds a lot of alt charge, which is really good because building rally is great, right? So he probably builds a little bit more rally percentage than most people because he takes that risk in timing in terms of packing at the end, and then when the packs, he's able to get the packs back because he times it correctly. But now he's got no packs in this mid fight, and he's completely just get railed, and that's a problem, right? But it's risky. It's really, really a risky way to approach it. Because in my opinion, I would rather not risk it because I know most really good teams will try and turn fights. So I'd rather have packs for a mid fight. Wait 1 second. Ah, crap. That's when I was drawing. My bad. I can draw it again if needed. This is interesting because it's harder for them to hit, so you can sort of poke here. But again, like, look, you have 0 packs going into this fight. And again, they have EMP, so it sort of makes sense. You'd rather use it now than later. But I just think double like packing Echo is a bit extensive. I would much rather double pack a Tracer because Echo almost will always be in your Zen's LOS in my opinion. Tracer will not. And again, I know you're playing, like, you want a lot of heals, and the other way to maybe look at it is if your Echo is in a position that's really rough and you think that enemy team's going to punish you a lot, then sure, you can double pack plus Harmony Orb so your Echo doesn't blow up when your Echo engages. But I think looking to give a little bit more value to your Tracer is important. Like, he's given 3 packs just to an Echo. I think that's pretty absurd, to be honest. Because your Echo also has Harmony Orb. Wow, that ended up working for him. I will say it's pretty nuts that Foreshadow is able to do this much with very little resources. He's barely getting any packs, he's doing a lot. It's pretty insane. This should probably finish it. And then just a long fight. These mid fights again, just making sure you're living. Like, your value as Brig is like super important. So again, you're seeing, I think, Landon again, pretty flawless with this play. There's like very few mistakes, if anything. And I think honestly the reason why he's packing Echo so much is because they just invest a lot in their Echo and they use Echo as their carry. And they don't want Echo dying in their initial engage, because if Echo dies, they pretty much sort of lose. You can see him scouting here. This is so if ball comes this way, ball gets immediately stunned and dealt with. It's also because I know for a fact they're probably looking for a really early engagement kill box. Oh, that's just... The backline just fed positioning wise. There's an open space and sort of just died. That's them engaging, right? Again, he's giving me so many packs to Echo, so Echo can just live and keep going for a while. It sucks that he had to, like, you know, do double pack Zen. Zen still died because he should have played with the Sigma. And he was like, what should have happened is they should have been over here. They just made a mistake. Then if they're over here, ball Tracer can't do anything. You can see them before they come. If they do come, you can you can what do you call you can absorb them is the word. My goodness. The reason why I might be also packing a lot more Echo is because if he dies also, it's sort of really rough, right? Again, he knows that ball Tracer, they're split, he can take space, he can do a lot. And he's sort of just clearing space and zones. Like here, you shouldn't use packs, that's smart. Alright, that's getting a little risky there in my opinion. Like it's also, that's sort of a pre-pack in essence. You're noticing most of these packs, because of how they're engaging and how their comp plays, because it plays so fast, he is quote-unquote pre-packing. It's like a 1 second pre-pack sort of, but like not, and it's sort of there, so like you can get value later, but still sort of there for that aspect. If you're playing a much slower based comp, you wouldn't be packing like this. Because our comp plays so aggro. Like Echo can't die. Like Echo dies here, now it's a massive problem. It's really hard to win this. Just trying to brawl, trying to get a trade. Fight's lost. Hey, well, hey, they rally. Try and turn with rally, maybe winnable. Rally's like one of the best ults in the game, and you can do so much with it. Echo came back. Fight was long. I think he should have pushed that. But we can talk about why he didn't push this. I think it's important to understand why he didn't push this. So he comes over here. He decides to rally because it's turnable because he's with the Sigma, and the Sigma plus Brig is broken, right? Then he's up here, right? He doesn't know where the enemy ball is, and he also understands that this is sort of a kill box. Like this is a place where you can go in and sort of get rolled, right? The enemy still has a Zen, right? Tracer, Mercy, and Ball, right? And Ashe is up there as well, and Ashe is Bob. So if they walked through this, right, it's very possible that the enemy team can just like roll you, like absolutely roll you. So he didn't want to risk that because they were already up, right? So this is like a pretty safe and good decision. And now that there's a Bob, right, there's more space to push through that choke. Then he goes in and takes space. But again, like you're seeing, because he uses ults like packs like this, he like in these mid fights he just doesn't have packs. And I really think that affects cycles. If he played like a really good team that like they'd be forced to cycle a lot, it'd be really rough. Because he just doesn't have the packs, he exerts so many packs early fight. Basically, the way you'd want to beat this team is if you just live through the first engage. Or play faster than them. But yeah. Because if you live through the first engage, there's just no resources for DPS. And if their echo dies, it becomes really hard. You use so many resources. Like, all these resources up here, in my opinion, aren't needed. This is a good decision, too. He goes point right. Again, the main damage dealer, Ashe, is dead. So, if you think about who can actually kill you, right? Like, legitimately, who can actually kill you, right? Ashe in this comp, as Ashe. If they had an Echo, it'd probably be Echo. Right? After that, sure, maybe a combination of Trace or Ball. That's if you don't have Harmony Orb, right? Discord plus a few things, right? But nothing like by itself can actually kill you when you're a Brig with Harmony Orb too. So if it's just one person, one-on-one, excuse me, Brig, you're actually really, really, really strong. So you can hold space incredibly well. And like make plays and like do stuff. Or most people are actually really scared as Brig, but as long as you're right on them, instead of playing the distance war, because distance war you're not going to be able to do anything because you don't have any range damage, but as long as you're right on them fast, then you're going to get insane, that you'll be able to do more. Again, people are still near him and can help him out, but you can slowly contest that if they're like their enemy team doesn't have a lot of like resources looked at you. But again, you can see a lot of these packs are used like really aggressively. And I really do think like he could definitely make this cleaner. Like I really don't like that he has 0 packs in a mid fight. I think it's really bad. I also think here he could like, I mean he honestly positioning payload really well and he knows he's probably not going to die, but he could play a little bit more left. Like reduce the poke he's taking, but oh, this is when the Ashe pops off. I remember watching this. Their Ashe gets like 3 kills here and then a Bob and carries. Their Ashe just absolutely pops off here. Oh wait, no, it was maybe Foreshadow popped off. I don't remember. Someone popped off. Oh, nope, it was Foreshadow popped off. Foreshadow carried. Alright. Okay, flails ball, right, he goes point again, doesn't get Harmony Orb, flails again, packs very, very normal. And like, what you're realizing, and by the way, if you're noticing, wherever he's going sort of, the Sigma Zen are close, or the Sigma Zen rotate with him, so it's very hard for the enemy ball team to do anything. He can always peel for the Zen if needed, or if they go on him, they can peel for him. It's very short distance, right? Very, very short distance. Only time he'll go on a far distance or do his own thing when the enemy ball tracer's probably gone or not a threat. Again, double pack. Probably didn't need it. Like, in my opinion, with how he's double packing, in my opinion, Sai could play way more aggressive. Like, way more aggressive. But Sai's playing, like, really conservative because I think the enemy team has Ashe. That's why I legitimately think, like, in a lot of these situations, he could be packing Foreshadow more, and Foreshadow could be doing a lot more. Oh, I think you missed it. This is an interesting position to play, because if you actually think about it, this also isn't that bad. You have a corner, right? You can see everything coming at you, so it's not actually that bad because you can stun the ball. The weirdest problem I have with it is, like, you give it a lot of high ground space, and the enemy Ashe can do a lot. But otherwise, it's actually not that bad of a spot. And you've got a lot of good aggressive rotations there. And they can't play the high ground because the enemy Ashe will just farm them, so they're forced to play the low ground here, as weird as that sounds. Unless they play really, 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 really close. And he just goes in, aggro, kills things. Very clean.